Chapter 396. It's raining. Bean-sized raindrops hit the glass window under the effect of the strong wind, and the dense patter made Lu Chen wake up from his deep sleep. He opened his eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the warm and fragrant jade in his arms, and couldn't help but be tempted. Last night, they were entangled several times, but he still wanted more. Chen Fei, who was still sleeping sweetly, groaned unconsciously, frowned and groaned with dissatisfaction. Lu Chen smiled, lowered his head and bit her jade-like earlobe gently, and finally made the sleeping beauty wake up. She slapped Lu Chen's hand that was touching her body. "You're so annoying." Lu Chen hugged her tightly and said with a smile, "Go to sleep." But Chen Fei, was already fully awake, and said coquettishly, "I'm not a pig. Can I fall asleep just because I want to? What time is it?" Lu Chen had to let her go, turned sideways and picked up the mobile phone in front of the bed. He opened it and took a look. 10:30. Ah. Chen Fei, was shocked and immediately sat up from the bed, ignoring the thin quilt slipping down and exposing her body. "It's so late. Get up quickly." Lu Chen said lazily, "It's rare to have a day off. Sleep with me a little longer." During this period of time, his daily work schedule has been full, and there were few opportunities to meet with Chen Fei. Today, he finally had time to sleep in as a reward for himself. The way of life lies in tension and relaxation. If the string is too tight, it will break. "You're the pig." Chen Fei didn't agree. She grabbed the clothes that were scattered on the bedside and put them on. The ratings of the premiere of Full of Romance have come out. You can still continue to sleep. Hurry up and watch it. Chen Fei, is really concerned about Lu Chen and her second TV series. Last night, Beijing Television and Zhejiang Satellite TV premiered at the same time, and she went home early to watch it. This heavenly queen was also suppressing a wave of energy in her heart, an energy that refused to admit defeat. Lu Chen said helplessly, "What's the difference between seeing it sooner or later? Even if I watched it earlier, the ratings wouldn't have increased." Chen Fei, pinched him fiercely. "Get up." The lion's roar from Hedong was very powerful. Lu Chen had no choice but to get up and wash up. Then, he ran to the study and turned on the computer. "How is it?" Chen Fei asked loudly while frying eggs in the kitchen for breakfast. Lu Chen logged into New Vision's website and quickly found a familiar name on the homepage. In the first and second episodes of Full of Romance, Zhejiang Satellite TV's ratings were 0. 67% and 0. 71%, respectively, while Beijing Television's ratings were 0. 43% and 0. 45%, with a comprehensive average rating of 1. 13% and a peak rating of 1. 16%. Ranked third. And the first place in the domestic TV ratings was Shonan TV's Sea of Love. The third and fourth episodes of the TV series reached 1. 46% and 1. 50%, respectively, with an average of 1. 48%. It was broadcast at the same time on the same day. In a head-to-head contest, Sea of Love surpassed Full of Romance by 0.32%. This gap was not small, because many TV series' highest ratings may not reach 0.3%. Chen Fei, who brought up the breakfast, was very disappointed. How could this be? Lu Chen took the plate and put it aside first. He held her in his arms and sat her on his lap. He said with a smile, "It's just beginning. I'll call to ask how the ratings in South Korea are." Full of Romance premiered in China and South Korea at the same time, which was the first time in a domestic TV series. While Lu Chen was on the phone, Chen Fei tapped on the keyboard and opened the Light and Shadow Network. The Light and Shadow Network was a very famous community website in China. It mainly recommended and reviewed movies, TV shows, and books. The ratings of the Light and Shadow Network reflected the audience's evaluation of movies and TV shows to a large extent. This part of the audience was mainly artistic and petty bourgeois netizens, so their ratings had nothing to do with the movie box office and TV show ratings. It only represented a kind of comment direction. Chen Feier was also a registered member of the Light and Shadow Network. Of course, she used a sock puppet ID. In the Light and Shadow Network, she found the rating column of Full of Romance without a hitch. So far, a total of 1,278 members had rated Full of Romance, with an average score of 8.7. The full score was 10. This score was beyond Chen Feier's expectations. Although the Light and Shadow Network was a niche website, its rating system was very strict. Even registered members had to have enough qualifications and points to rate movies, TV shows, or books. Therefore, to a large extent, it prevented cheating. Moreover, the website would deal with abnormal data in a timely manner. Therefore, although the rating could not represent the mainstream, it had a certain degree of authority. Most of the members of the Light and Shadow Network were urban white-collar workers. They liked artistic works. Most of them were disgusted with the popular idol dramas. Therefore, it was not easy for a TV show like Full of Romance to win a high score here. It was worth mentioning that Autumn in My Heart had a rating of 7.5 on the Light and Shadow Network. Moreover, the Light and Shadow Network's reviews were very polarized. Those who liked it praised it highly, while those who didn't like it hated it. The reason for their dislike was that they hated the melodramatic plot, the sadomasochism, and the female lead. The ratings for Full of Romance were obviously much better than Autumn in My Heart. There were many positive reviews. I watched Full of Romance last night. At least the story attracted me, so I give it 8.5. A modern version of Cinderella and the Prince. I give the screenwriter a thumbs up. He can write an old story with new ideas. I feel that Chen Feier's acting has improved significantly. It's better than Autumn in My Heart. Lu Chen is very much like a star. I give him 9 points. The scenery in Jeju Island is so beautiful. Browsing through the comments section of Full of Romance, a joyful smile appeared on Chen Feier's face. She had been in the industry for many years and had experienced prosperity. However, she had high hopes for this TV series that she had poured a lot of effort into. She also hoped that it would be recognized and loved by the audience. In order to play the female lead of Full of Romance, Chen Feier had specially invited 2 well-known senior teachers in the industry to guide her acting skills. Her hard work was obviously not in vain. After reading the ratings and reviews of Full of Romance, Chen Feier clicked on Sea of Love. 2 points. Contrary to the situation where the ratings of Full of Romance were higher than Full of Romance, the ratings of Sea of Love on the Light and Shadow Network were at least 3 streets behind the latter. The average score given by more than 3,000 members was just over 6 points. This kind of reputation was very difficult to achieve. Although Chen Feier was very clear that the ratings of the Light and Shadow Network did not represent the opinions of the mainstream audience, and the works with high ratings were all over the place. However, the little bit of depression in her heart had disappeared because of this. At least it was a good start, wasn't it? Chapter 397. Unlike the ratings on the Guangying website, on the blog of Waves, there are good reviews of Sea of Love everywhere. In fact, the premiere of Full House of Romance is already very strong. The overall average rating has reached 1.13%, which has left most of the similar TV series in the dust. It can be said that it is a good start, and it is worth celebrating. But the problem is that due to the early publicity war, Full House of Romance and Sea of Love are considered to be opposite each other. Shonan TV's tit-for-tat broadcasting strategy also makes the competition between the 2 TV series full of gunpowder, which makes people naturally compare them. The ratings of Full House of Romance lost to Sea of Love by 0.32%, which naturally gave some people the best topic. On his blog, Hu Yang proudly brushed the title of the blog post 150%. Although he did not name names, everyone knew that he was showing off the results of Sea of Love and demonstrating to Lu Chen that he can still be the protagonist, and he is very good at it. Compared with the other protagonist of The Boundless Sea of Love, that is, Zhang Liwei, who plays the heroine, Hu Yang is undoubtedly much more high-profile. He has made a name for himself on the blog, and has also attracted great disgust from Luchan fans. Zhang Liwei also became famous because of Autumn in My Heart. Unlike Hu Yang, she did not get rid of her agency after becoming famous, but continued to stay. After taking over the role of the heroine of Sea of Love, Zhang Liwei also posted on her blog to promote the TV series, or release some shooting footage or something. But her publicity was only aimed at the show itself and never involved Full House of Romance. Even if she was asked sensitive questions by reporters, she always cleverly avoided them. Compared with Zhang Liwei's modesty and prudence, Hu Yang is really too arrogant. This makes many people feel surprised. As a young artist who has just become popular, Hu Yang is so ostentatious and even arrogant. It is a bit too much to PK with Lu Chen. As an artist, in fact, it is better to be low-key and modest. Isn't Hu Yang's approach a little stupid? In fact, Hu Yang is not stupid. On the contrary, he is very smart, even too smart. First of all, he knew what he was relying on. It was the Assembly of Stars agency and Shonan TV. With the support of these two, he would be able to stand firm in the entertainment industry and not be afraid of ordinary storms. Secondly, through this method, Hu Yang gained a lot of attention, and the number of fans on his blog kept increasing. Although he had attracted a lot of haters because of this, who didn't have haters? Lu Chen had it, and so did Chen Feier. There was no need to be afraid of having anti-fans. The scariest thing was that no one paid attention to them. The more attention they had, the higher their commercial value. Even if they were scolded by others, they would still have a large income from endorsements and advertisements. If they didn't seize the opportunity to hype up now, when would they? Therefore, not only would Hu Yang not restrain himself, but he would also continue to show off the viewership ratings. Now, it was 150%. Tomorrow, it might be 170%. The day after that, it might reach 2%. Basking in the sun once was equivalent to slapping Lu Chen's face. How could he not be happy? Lu Chen's target for Full of Romance was 4%. He had too many opportunities to slap people's faces. With results, attention, fun, and money, why wouldn't Hu Yang do it? He couldn't wait to hype up the show as much as possible. If Lu Chen fought with him, that would be even better. Of course, Lu Chen wouldn't do something as lowly as fighting with him, but that didn't mean that Lu Chen wouldn't fight back. Moreover, Lu Chen had just mastered a powerful weapon. Less than 10 minutes after Hu Yang updated his blog, Lu Chen also posted a new blog post. In this blog post titled, "Thanks," he first thanked the fans for their support for the new drama, Full of Romance, which allowed the premiere of the drama to reach 1%, achieving the first step of his goal. In addition, Lu Chen had another piece of good news to tell everyone. The premiere of Full of Romance in Korea had exceeded 15%, reaching 15.21%. This rating not only set a record for the premiere of domestic dramas in Korea, but it was also the runner-up for the premiere of the same genre on Korean TV this year, only 1.5% behind the champion. If it wasn't for the natural disadvantage of imported dramas, or if it was changed to KBS and MBC, the two stronger Korean TV stations, then there would be no suspense in the championship. As soon as Lu Chen's blog post was published, not only did it attract cheers and waves from fans, but it also gave a heavy blow to those who belittled Full of Romance on the blog. Of course, that included Hu Yang. Is 150% that great? Then try 15%. These people who were hit in the head only then remembered that Full of Romance was the first domestic drama to premiere in Korea at the same time. Its opening in Korea was perfect. Even if South Korea's market is much smaller than China's, don't forget that South Korea's variety shows have always been at the forefront in China. Full House of Romance followed Autumn in My Heart in South Korea. Can Sea of Love compare to it? No matter how stubborn they were, the truth was the truth. It couldn't be erased. Hu Yang wanted to use the ratings to slap Lu Chen in the face, but Lu Chen slapped him in the face. Stop talking nonsense. If you have the guts, go abroad and compete with others. In fact, in view of the success of Autumn in My Heart, Shonan TV also intended to export Sea of Love to Korea through MBC TV, copying the former's route. However, negotiations weren't that easy to reach. MBC was much more conservative and xenophobic than KGS. If Shonan TV didn't pay enough, it would be difficult to realize this wish. And even if Sea of Love could be broadcast in Korea in the future, so what? Now they had completely lost to their opponents. Lu Chen's "Thank You" blog post not only received a lot of forwarding and likes, but many industry peers also forwarded their congratulations. SPG's official V also posted photos of Full of Romance, playing on the big screens on the buildings in the bustling streets of Seoul. Many media outlets also used the method of news announcements to release the news of the success of Full of Romance in Korea on their respective websites. They speculated that this TV series should be able to set a new record for domestic dramas to be broadcast abroad. The impact of this was that many people had a strong interest in the TV series, Full of Romance, and used the playback function of digital TVs to watch the first and second episodes of last night's premiere. And tonight, Full of Romance would continue to broadcast the third and fourth episodes. This couldn't help but start to guess what the result of the collision of the two TV series would be. Would Sea of Love be able to maintain its ratings advantage over Full of Romance? Everyone was looking forward to it. Chapter 398. On the evening of July 23rd, Full House of Romance continued to broadcast the third and fourth episodes on Zhejiang and Beijing television. Shonan TV's Sea of Love aired the fifth and sixth episodes. The competition between the ratings of these two TV series has become the biggest hot spot on the domestic summer screen, and many film and television production companies and industry professionals have also paid great attention to it. Because whichever show wins the ratings is likely to bring about a wave in the industry. This phenomenon has existed on the domestic screen for many years, such as the original anti-Japanese drama, spy drama, idol drama, sitcom, etc., all of which became popular after a classic show, and then followed the trend to imitate it. Even if you can't eat fat meat, you can still get a few mouthfuls of soup to drink. The most important thing is that many investors like to invest in this kind of TV series. The risk is small, the return is high, and the profit is high. Before the premiere of Full House of Romance, in the eyes of many people in the industry, Lu Chen was not very smart. His first TV series, Autumn in My Heart, had already been a great success, but he didn't follow up with a second or third series. Instead, he changed his style and unknowingly abandoned many of the fans and audience of Autumn in My Heart, increasing the risk. Lu Chen's approach is obviously not mature enough. It is estimated that he became famous at a young age, and he has the support of several industry giants. Unexpectedly, he went against the powerful Shonan TV, which makes people sweat when they think about it. And the ratings of the premiere seem to prove Lu Chen's mistake. However, the 21% ratings of Full House of Romance in South Korea really scared everyone, making people lack the courage to complain. No one dared to point at Lu Chen again. Even if Full House of Romance is really a flop in China, it is still something to be proud of. What's more, Full House of Romance is not bad, but its light in China is temporarily overshadowed by its opponent. The battle between Full House of Romance and Sea of Love has just begun, and everyone is waiting to see who will laugh in the end. On the morning of July 24th, the official website of New Channel updated the domestic TV program ratings list on its homepage. As a result, the number of visitors to the website set a new record. It was not only the media and people in the film and television industry who clicked to visit New Channel's official website. There were also a large number of ordinary fans. This was because the ratings battle launched by Wave's blog had already affected them. Shonan TV's Sea of Love, the fifth episode's rating was 1.49%, the sixth episode's rating was 1.45%, the average rating of the two episodes was 1.47%, ranking first. The overall viewership ratings for the third episode of Full House of Romance was 1.43% and the fourth episode was 1.47%. The average was 1.45%. Ranked second. The industry was in an uproar. Shonen TV's summer self-produced drama, Sea of Love, had invested a lot in publicity, and the premiere had seized the opportunity in advance. The first 2 episodes had been aired in the name of a trial broadcast a week ago, which was a good start. Riding on the momentum of the success of the premiere and the accumulated sense of anticipation from the audience, Sea of Love was broadcast for 3 consecutive days this weekend. It competed with Full House of Romance in the ratings, and won the first round beautifully. In everyone's view, the advantage of Sea of Love would definitely continue to be maintained for a period of time, and the decisive battle between the 2 sides should be in the middle. No one expected that the situation would change so dramatically overnight. The 4th episode of Sea of Love hit 1.5%, and the 5th and 6th episodes actually showed a downward trend. Although it maintained its first place with an average rating of 1.47%, even outsiders could see its decline, let alone the industry insiders. The ratings of a TV series were like a boat sailing against the current, not moving forward or backward. The ratings of the first half of the series were the most critical. Only by rushing all the way up could the average ratings be pulled up. Once it fell, it would be difficult to recover. The ratings of the 30 episodes of Sea of Love had only been broadcast for 4 episodes, and the ratings had dropped. Such a result was undoubtedly like a resounding slap in the face of Shonen TV. It was too embarrassing. Compared with Sea of Love, the ratings of Full House of Romance had improved significantly, directly pulling up to 1.47%. The latest single episode had actually surpassed its opponent, showing the momentum of soaring. Of course, it was too early to say that Full House of Romance had defeated Sea of Love. No one dared to say that Full House of Romance would not have the same decline in ratings as its opponent. But the possibility of this was really too small, because the growth of the ratings of Full House of Romance was achieved under the strong growth of Sea of Love and vice versa. In the blog of Waves, the marketing pushers, video critics, and fans of Sea of Love were speechless for a while. Hu Yang, who used to read 8 or 10 articles a day, was completely silent. He was too embarrassed to post another 1.45% blog post on his blog, right? It was not enough for others to laugh at. But Hu Yang and others shrank their heads, and Lu Chen's fans were proud. Lu Chen's studio and the official V of Full House of Romance had not said anything, but Lu Chen's fan group V could not wait to send out a congratulatory blog post. The title was very interesting, 1.47%. It was a complete imitation, a real slap in the face. And in a strange silence and noise, that is, on Sunday night, the 5th and 6th episodes of Full House of Romance were broadcast, and the 7th and 8th episodes of Sea of Love were broadcast. On Monday morning, the official website of New Video was updated again. The overall rating of the 5th episode of Full House of Romance was 1.67%, the 6th episode was 1.75%, and the average was 1.71%. Ranked first. Sea of Love was unable to reverse the decline, and the ratings of the 7th and 8th episodes fell again, 1.42% and 1.40%, respectively, ranking second with an average of 1.41%. It was not terrible to be one step behind, but terrible to be behind step by step, and unable to recover. Full House of Romance surpassed Sea of Love in average ratings by 0.3%, proudly and confidently stood at the top of the domestic TV ratings of the same period, and rushed to the 3rd place among all TV shows, full of momentum. In just 3 days, the second TV series written and starring by Lu Chen, in the face of a strong opponent, from falling behind to catching up and successfully surpassing, completed an incredible and gorgeous counterattack. And anyone could see that the average 1.61% was far from the end of the ratings of Full House of Romance. As the plot of the TV series deepened and the reputation fermented, it was not a dream to realize Lu Chen's bold claim of breaking 4 out of 3. Such a result made Shonan TV's publicity on Sea of Love completely muted. Many people in the industry were completely confused. They did not understand why such a situation happened. They had expected a long and fierce battle, but Full House of Romance neatly cut down its opponent. Why did this happen? Chapter 399. Why is that? Wan Xiaoquan took a sip of fragrant tea and said in a deep voice, because now the audience is tired of the kind of TV series that follow the trend. The audience's appreciation level is improving, and the requirements for movies and TV series are also improving. So the film and television production companies that are not enterprising and only want to take advantage of the situation will not be able to survive sooner or later. They can't always rely on clumsy plagiarism and shoddy plots to deceive the audience. Without novel creativity and unique ideas, it is inevitable that the audience will abandon it. In my opinion, Sea of Love is a TV series with beautiful packaging and powerful advertising, but the content is terrible. It is no different from the previous self-made TV series of Shonan TV. However, they ignore a very important point, that is, the TV audience has matured. To be honest, I was surprised that the ratings of Sea of Love didn't drop until the 5th or 6th episode. In my opinion, there is no need to watch the first 2 episodes of this TV series. It's enough to watch Autumn in My Heart. Why chew the cold rice again? Listening to his complaints, everyone present showed a knowing smile. July was the hottest season in Beijing, but in the elegant room of Yumming Tea Garden, there was no need to turn on the air conditioner. The cool breeze blew into the room from the open window, making people feel naturally relaxed and happy. A pot of good tea, a few snacks, and 3 or 5 friends sitting and talking were enough to easily pass the afternoon. Wan Xiaoquan looked a little excited. He put down the teacup and stared at Lu Chen sitting opposite him. His eyes showed a look of admiration. In contrast, the story of Full of Romance is much more interesting. It is warm, romantic and humorous, giving the audience a full sense of novelty. The good thing about this TV series is that the screenwriter can tell the story. It is inevitable that the ratings will surpass Sea of Love, and it will be higher. A middle-aged man at the table smiled and said, "Old Wan, I didn't expect you to study TV series now." Although it was a joke, there was no malice because he was an old friend of Wan Xiaoquan's for many years. Today's party was initiated by Wan Xiaoquan. He invited several friends in the circle and Lu Chen. It just so happened that Lu Chen was able to find some time to participate in this tea party in this small circle. Wan Xiaoquan is a student of director Zhang Wentian and one of the well-known representatives of the 5th generation of directors in the industry. He is a very talented person and deeply appreciated by Zhang Wentian. As the saying goes, one's personality determines one's fate. Wan Xiaoquan had a very bad temper. 2 years ago, he was sent to prison for injuring someone in a conflict. He had just been released from prison a few months ago. Nowadays, Wan Xiaoquan was basically living in seclusion. Because of the relevant regulations of the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television, no film company or investors asked him to film, and his life was very poor. As for his friends, there were only a few of them left in front of him. After experiencing this unforeseen event, Wan Xiaoquan's temper had obviously changed. He was no longer violent and irritable, but had become tolerant and calm. If his friends had played such a joke on him in the past, he would definitely have been angry, but now he just laughed it off. "I'm bored, so I watch TV at home every day." Wan Xiaoquan said in a self-deprecating manner, "I was thinking that since I can't act in movies in the future, I might as well try acting in television." His friends fell silent. Although Wan Xiaoquan had a bad temper in the past, he was full of confidence and pride, as well as the desire to create. Right now, there was always a lingering sense of decadence that he could not get rid of. In the past, Wan Xiaoquan disdained TV dramas. In his opinion, movies were the real art. Now, he was sitting at home watching TV. The contrast was too sharp, making people feel sad. Lu Chen keenly felt the change in the atmosphere in the elegant room. He calmly opened the briefcase he brought with him, took out a thick stack of manuscript paper, and handed it to Wan Xiaoquan. Wan Xiaoquan was suddenly stunned. "This is?" Lu Chen said with a smile, "This is a movie script I wrote. I want to ask Teacher Wan for some advice." Wan Xiaoquan was surprised. "Then I have to take a good look." He solemnly took the script with both hands, and his eyes couldn't help but fall on the front page of the script. The title of the script was very eye-catching, A Chinese Ghost Story. Wan Xiaoquan's heart couldn't help but jump. He couldn't help but turn to the first page and read the introduction of the script carefully. The introduction on the second page had 300 to 400 words, and it took him a full 5 minutes to finish reading it. After reading the outline of the story, Wan Xiaoquan let out a long breath. "This is Nie Xiaoqian from Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Yes, my script is based on Nie Xiaoqian." Wan Xiaoquan felt a little confused. "You want to make a movie?" Lu Chen nodded, "Yes." There was nothing to avoid. The path he had set for himself in life was to walk the path of film, television, and singing. In the entertainment industry, movie actors were the most pretentious among all the artists. The idea of making a movie hadn't just appeared in Lu Chen's mind for a day or two. It could be said that he had it ever since he stepped into the industry, and he had already started planning. This script of A Chinese Ghost Story was written and sorted out by him in 5 days. There were about 40,000 words in total, and there were hundreds of pages printed. Since returning to Beijing after the national promotional tour of Full House of Romance, Lu Chen spent most of his time at home typing on the keyboard behind closed doors. In addition to writing The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, it was A Chinese Ghost Story. He was going to use this movie as his debut on the screen. It was just that there were only a few movie directors that Lu Chen knew. The most famous one, Zhang Wentian, had retired, so he thought of Wan Xiaoquan. It just so happened that Wan Xiaoquan invited him to tea, so he printed the script and brought it over. Wan Xiaoquan was good at period films and had shot The Legend of the White Snake. Lu Chen believed that with his directing skills, there should be no problem directing A Chinese Ghost Story. Wan Xiaoquan was not a fool. Although Lu Chen did not say it clearly, how could he not understand what Lu Chen meant? "You don't want me to direct this movie, do you?" Lu Chen said with a smile, "If Teacher Wan can help, that would naturally be the best." Wan Xiaoquan said with a wry smile, "It's not like you don't know my situation." He had been in prison for more than a year, but he had not paid the price for his impulsiveness that year. He would be banned in the industry for at least 2 years. How could he come out and be a director now? Although he was very tempted. Although Lu Chen is young, he is modest and knows how to respect his seniors. He is also a well-known artist and has opened his own studio. He is doing very well in the circle and has a strong market appeal. Tien, not bad. In other words, Lu Chen was a very good partner. Unfortunately, Wan Xiaoquan sighed low in his heart. Chapter 400. The more developed the entertainment industry was, the more scandals there were in the entertainment industry. The rise of the internet had allowed the interaction between people to reach an unprecedented level. Information that could only be obtained through television, radio, newspapers, and magazines in the past could now be obtained immediately through the internet. The internet had also allowed celebrities and idols to receive far more attention than before. But at the same time, the negative news of celebrities would also be magnified on the internet, easily triggering a frenzy of public opinion. The same rice fed all kinds of people. In this industry, there were all kinds of people. As more and more people entered, negative news was constantly exposed, causing the public's negative impression of the entertainment industry to deepen. Drug abuse, prostitution, cheating, drunk driving, brawling. In recent years, these scandals had become frequent guests in the entertainment section of the media. They often appeared in the headlines, causing their social influence to continue to expand. Under such circumstances, the relevant departments of the country had no choice but to come up with corresponding rules and increase the punishment for celebrities who violated laws and regulations or morals. It was no longer the 3 glasses of wine punishment that they used to have. Wan Xiaoquan had been imprisoned for a year and a half for assaulting someone. Although his crime was pardonable, rules were rules. It was a law that everyone had to abide by. 2 years of imprisonment was already considered a lenient punishment. Therefore, Wan Xiaoquan could not make a movie in these 2 years. Even if he did, he could not be released or broadcast. Of course, no film production company or investors would look for him. The only way left for him was to either retire temporarily or find another job. In fact, the impact of such a ban was very far-reaching. It was better for a director like Wan Xiaoquan, but if it was an idle artist, 2 years was enough to completely push them into the abyss, unable to make a comeback. However, for Wan Xiaoquan, he could still support himself after sitting on the bench for 2 years. At least, he would not starve to death. However, not being able to engage in a career that he liked and dedicated his life to was undoubtedly a great torment. Compared to 2 years ago, Wan Xiaoquan gave people the feeling that he had aged at least 10 years, and his sideburns had turned white. Therefore, when he saw the script of A Chinese Ghost Story that Lu Chen took out, Wan Xiaoquan was excited at first. He felt a warm current surging in his body, quickly spreading throughout his body, making him feel as if he had regained the vitality of life. However, when he thought of his own situation, it was as if a basin of ice water had been poured over his head, and he suddenly woke up. This feeling was really difficult to describe in words. The conflict in his heart made Wan Xiaoquan clench his fists. His knuckles turned white from clenching too hard. When Lu Chen saw this, he sighed in his heart. Of course, Lu Chen knew the trouble that Wan Xiaoquan was facing, but since he had taken out the script, he must have come prepared. "Mr. Wan, I would like to invite you to be my director in this movie." There were policies and countermeasures. Wan Xiaoquan couldn't be a director in name, but it was not a problem for him to be a consultant and guide. To put it bluntly, he was selling dog meat under a sheep's head to avoid the ban. However, in this way, even if the entire movie was directed by Wan Xiaoquan, his name would not appear in it. Whether it was in the publicity or in the subtitles, he was equivalent to an invisible person. This was undoubtedly a compromise. Lu Chen had only proposed it because he understood Wan Xiaoquan's situation. If the other party was addicted to drugs, then no matter how talented Wan Xiaoquan was, Lu Chen would only stay away from him. After all, it was risky for him to hire Wan Xiaoquan as a director. Wan Xiaoquan's eyes suddenly lit up. As an insider, how could he not understand what Lu Chen meant? This method was completely feasible. Although there was no direct honor as a director, what he needed most now was a job, not honor. Actually, at this time, the middle-aged man sitting next to him suddenly said, "I have a suggestion." Lu Chen quickly said, "Mr. Zhang, go ahead." This middle-aged man, surnamed Zhang, was a senior independent media person and one of Wan Xiaoquan's few friends. The middle-aged man said seriously, "Xiao Lu, if you want to invite Lao Wan to direct your movie, I suggest you take him to Xiangjiang." Lu Chen couldn't help but be stunned. To Xiangjiang? Yes, to Xiangjiang. The man smiled and said, "You may not know, but at the beginning of the year, SARFT issued a new regulation. This new regulation was specifically aimed at the film industry of Xiangjiang, echoing with the film industry support plan of the Xiangjiang Special District Government, with the intention of helping to revitalize the film industry of Xiangjiang. The film industry of Xiangjiang was once very glorious in the 1980s and 1990s. After Xiangjiang returned to the motherland in 77 years, a large number of local films were able to be released in the huge mainland market. Urban films, comedies, ghost films, police films, and so on deeply affected several generations of young people, and many film and television stars also emerged. There were even many third-rate romance films that flowed into the mainland and were played in places such as street video halls. However, this prosperity did not last for too long. Due to the serious homogeneity and the emergence of shoddy production, it was gradually abandoned by the audience. In addition, the vigorous development of the mainland film and television industry, Xiangjiang's film industry suffered a great impact and soon declined after entering the new century. Therefore, many practitioners went north to seek development, and the continuous loss of talent aggravated this decline. In the past 10 years, Xinjiang's film industry has been seeking a breakthrough in difficulties, and there have been a few good films, but it was undoubtedly a fool's dream to restore the prosperity of the past. And Xinjiang's filmmakers have also been calling for the support of the government. The new regulation of SARFT and the support plan of the Xinjiang Special District Government were brewed under this background. Wan Xiaoquan's old friend further explained in detail, "You have no foundation in the film industry. Instead of choosing to compete with so many strong opponents in the capital, it is better to jump to Xinjiang and start a new career, such as opening a film studio." The film industry support plan of the Xinjiang government is not only effective for the locals. Any film production company registered in Xinjiang can enjoy preferential and supportive policies, and can also participate in the local film market of Xinjiang, and at the same time radiate to Taiwan, Japan and Southeast Asia. The most important thing is that, according to the new regulation of SARFT, movies produced in Xinjiang can apply for approval and broadcast Green Channel. Once approved, then it can be released in the 3 major domestic cinemas and small and medium-sized cinemas at the same time. Just this point alone is completely worth going to Xinjiang. Lu Chen's heart palpitated. Chapter 401. The domestic film industry was developing rapidly. As of 2015, apart from the 3 special administrative regions, there were more than 5,000 cinemas and 25,000 screens in the country. The annual box office reached 48 billion, accounting for 50% of the Asia-Pacific market, second only to the United States. In China, the 3 major cinemas, Wanlong, New Generation, and Meichen divided the main share of the film market. Wanlong owned more than 400 cinemas, and was the well-deserved leader. The profits brought by operating the cinemas were quite amazing. According to the proportion of the domestic film box office, of the 100 yuan box office, 5 yuan had to be paid to the film fund, 5 yuan as tax, and the remaining 5 yuan, 45 yuan for the cinemas, 15 yuan for the cinemas, and only 5 yuan for the producers and distributors. This meant that the cinemas with a large number of cinemas could share the most abundant profits. Not only that, with the expansion of the film market, the rich cinemas extended their tentacles to the forefront, forming a one-stop shooting, production, distribution, and screening model, eating up all the meat from top to bottom. In such a situation, big and small film and television production companies were bound to be suppressed by the cinemas, and the competition between them was very fierce. As an independent artist, if Lu Chen wanted to squeeze into this market, it could be imagined how difficult it would be. Lu Chen had to rely on a powerful production company, establish a good cooperative relationship with the 3 major cinemas, and then share most of the benefits to get a foothold. And in the process, Lu Chen also had to look at other people's eyes. Of course, he didn't need to do this. With his current popularity, there was no problem for him to be the male lead in a certain movie. Participating in the shooting and producing and distributing were completely different things. And Lu Chen's ambition was obviously not satisfied with being the male lead in the movie. He wanted more. Wan Xiaoquan's friends saw this, so he made such a suggestion, to go to Xinjiang. With the new regulations of the SARFT and the support plan of the Xinjiang government, he could get a very good starting point, without any historical burden, and with the Green Channel, it would be much easier to distribute in the country. Because even the 3 major cinemas had to bow down to the SARFT. In addition, the foundation of Xinjiang's film and television industry was very good. There were many people in the industry, including directors, actors, cameramen, makeup artists, props artists, and other film and television-related professionals. Xinjiang had already formed a very mature operating system. Also, the salary of the local actors in Xinjiang was generally lower than that in China. This was also one of the main reasons why many Xinjiang actors liked to go to the mainland to film and appear on programs. Of course, there were also disadvantages to developing in Xinjiang. That was, the culture and social atmosphere of Xinjiang were quite different from that of the mainland. If one could not adapt to it, the loss would outweigh the gain. Finally, what Wan Xiaoquan's friend didn't say was that going to Xinjiang to start a new life was the best choice for Wan Xiaoquan, because no one would care about his past there, and he could live a more relaxed life. All of these made Lu Chen really tempted. The benefits of going to Xiangjiang were obvious. As for how to integrate into the local people of Xiangjiang, it was not a big problem for Lu Chen. He could speak fluent Cantonese. Because Su Bo was a native of Cantonese, he could also sing Cantonese songs very well. There was no barrier in communicating with the people of Xiangjiang who mainly spoke Cantonese. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said to Wan Xiaoquan, "Teacher Wan, how about this? I'll register a movie studio in Xiangjiang first, and then you can go there first to help me support the stall and prepare for this movie?" It was impossible for Lu Chen to open a company to make a movie now. In fact, there was no pre-arrangement in his plan for this year. In the next half of the year, he would release a new album and hold his own solo concert. It had been nearly a year since the release of Lu Chen's debut album, You Who Sat Next to Me. Many fans were looking forward to his second album. In the past year, Lu Chen had also accumulated enough works, so there was no problem in releasing a new album. Most importantly, he now also had a high-end recording studio and a professional music team. If he didn't release a new album, when would he? After releasing the second album, he would hold a solo concert at the end of the year and push his singing career to a new peak, which was also in Lu Chen's plan. There had always been a popular saying in the pop music world, that is, a singer who has not held a special concert is not a real star. For example, Chen Fei had been in the industry for more than 10 years, and she had held countless concerts. If she hadn't been shooting with Lu Chen, she would have had a concert last year, which had been delayed until this year. It was also imperative to hold a concert, and it was certainly not enough. It was necessary to tour several major cities. With all these things, Lu Chen had no time to run to Xiangjiang to prepare a movie studio, and Lu Shi was also not free. But if he missed this opportunity, if there were any changes in the policy in the future, it would be too late to plot at that time. The so-called opportunity would not come again. In this way, asking Wan Xiaoquan to come out of retirement was undoubtedly a very good choice. Let him go to Xiangjiang first, familiarize himself with the local situation, recruit useful talents, and occupy the pit firmly. At that time, it would be much easier for Lu Chen to go there. Treating people with sincerity, Lu Chen clearly told his thoughts to Wan Xiaoquan. As for his choice, Lu Chen would respect it. Wan Xiaoquan did not hesitate. Only after losing something would he know how to cherish it. This time he had the opportunity to go to Xiangjiang to start anew, which was an opportunity and a challenge for him. Maybe he would face all kinds of difficulties, but that was precisely the meaning of life. The most terrible thing was not the difficulties, but the slow decay in silence. As long as there were movies to shoot, Wan Xiaoquan did not mind working for Lu Chen at all. Moreover, Lu Chen's attitude towards creation was not comparable to those who only wanted to make money. In his heart, he was very grateful to Lu Chen. How could the icing on the cake compare to charcoal in snowy weather? It was just that Wan Xiaoquan was an introverted person. He would not show his gratitude on his face all the time. He would use actual work and achievements to repay Lu Chen's investment. Just like that, the matter was settled. Of course, Wan Xiaoquan could not leave immediately. Lu Chen still had to give him 1 or 2 reliable assistants. In addition, he had to prepare the funds for the establishment of the Xiangjiang studio. He needed to discuss and solve these with Lu Shi. And now the most important thing for Lu Chen was the hit Full House of Romance. On July 29th, the 7th and 8th episodes of Full House of Romance were broadcast. Chapter 402. A week ago, Full House of Romance premiered in Beijing and Zhejiang Satellite TV. 6 episodes were broadcast for 3 days in a row, and the ratings jumped from 1.13% to 1.75%. The increase was amazing, and it also caused a lot of response among the audience. This urban emotional TV series took the route of comedy and romance. In Lu Chen's dream world, the original work opened the prelude to the transformation from tragedy to comedy of Korean TV series. It was a milestone work of Korean TV series. The original work's premiere in South Korea broke through 34% of the ratings. The average rating of the whole series was 31.9%, and the highest rating reached 47%. After that, it was broadcast in more than 13 countries, such as China, the United States, and Japan, and achieved good results. Now, Lu Chen has remade the adaptation, enriching the plot and characters, and even deepening and modifying the characters of the male and female protagonists, completely making up for the defects of the original work, and the degree of excitement is much better than the original work. So Lu Chen confidently shouted the words, flat 3 high 4. And the performance of Full House of Romance did not disappoint him. In just 6 episodes, it overturned Shonen TV's Sea of Love, showing an unparalleled momentum. On July 29th, the 7th and 8th episodes of Full House of Romance were broadcast, with a rating of 1.97% and 2.25% respectively. This kind of stable and frightening increase is simply terrible, because most TV series will show irregular curve fluctuations in the ratings, and it is really rare to see a continuous straight line rise like Full House of Romance. At this time, even those who are biased against Lu Chen have to admit that he has succeeded again, and is likely to create new records and results. In South Korea, the ratings of Full House of Romance have exceeded 30%, and KGS has increased its publicity efforts for this. On the internet, there are more and more fans of Full House of Romance. The number of fans on Wave's blog has exceeded the 1 million mark, and the popularity of related posts and forums has remained high. Lu Chen, who plays the big star protagonist, and Chen Fei, who plays the online female writer, have once again gained a wave of fans with the help of this TV series, becoming the most popular couple on the domestic screen at present. The delicate shooting style, the beautiful exotic atmosphere, the interlocking storyline, the handsome and determined male protagonist, and the beautiful female protagonist, who is a little silly, jointly interpret a moving story full of warmth and romance. Completely contrary to the bitter sadomasochism of Autumn in My Heart, this TV series is aimed at making people happy. The characters in the story have a lot of humorous dialogue, and many wonderful sentences have quickly spread on the internet. The audience is the most realistic. The remote control is in their hands. Watching a TV series that has been shot with more than 100 million investment, and it has been shot with countless efforts and time, there is no reason for them to directly change the channel if they feel it is not to their liking. But they were also the most selfless. When they saw a drama they liked, they would take the initiative to recommend it to their friends and family. They would even argue with those who opposed it on the internet. The extreme development of the information network has made it very easy to spread this kind of evaluation from the audience. QQ, Feishin, blogs, BBS. One person's opinion can easily be seen by tens of thousands of people. The reputation of Full House of Romance has been fermenting over time. The increase in the ratings is completely natural, and the potential is infinite. It's just that the rise of a winner is often stepping on the bones of countless losers. Full House of Romance is undoubtedly Shonen TV's Sea of Love as a stepping stone. It's very interesting to say that Shonen TV originally premiered Sea of Love first and competed head-on with Full House of Romance in the ratings. Their purpose was to step on the ladder and prove that they are worthy of being the king of the summer slot. The momentum of the premiere of Sea of Love is very good. The production quality of this TV series is actually not bad. However, as a tragedy that follows the trend, its biggest tragedy is precisely that it chose to fight head-on with Full House of Romance. Shonen TV has not realized that the audience's appreciation tastes are changing. They are wishful thinking that they can replicate the success of Autumn in My Heart. They are superstitious about their own successful publicity and hype. They stubbornly and arrogantly refuse to believe that Lu Chen's Full House of Romance is a strong opponent. In their view, only Full House of Romance avoids the edge of Sea of Romance. There is absolutely no reason for Sea of Romance to retreat from Full House of Romance. But the market has ruthlessly educated them, slapping the faces of those who advocate Sea of Romance and belittle Full House of Romance. On July 30th, the 9th and 10th episodes of Full House of Romance were broadcast, with ratings of 2.75% and 2.96%, respectively. The highest ratings were only 0.4% away from breaking through 3%. At the same time, Full House of Romance's ratings in South Korea broke through 35% and moved towards the 40% mark. With less than half of the episodes broadcast, Full House of Romance has become a phenomenal new TV series. It firmly occupies the top spot of all TV shows in the same period, leaving other TV series far behind. It has booked the throne of the summer ratings in advance. Unless there is a shocking reversal, it will be unshakable. In contrast, the ratings of Sea of Romance have fallen to about 1%, which is extremely embarrassing. The first few episodes of this shonen TV masterpiece are still some highlights, but in the middle, the usual nature of the melodramatic screenwriter is exposed, and it can't get rid of the pattern of autumn in my heart, so the audience has little expectation for the later plot, and it can't help but feel like chewing wax. The reason why it can struggle at 1% is because of the fans of many idol stars in the show. On the internet, especially in the blog of Waves, which is the main position of film and TV series publicity, the blog posts touting Sea of Romance have been greatly reduced. But anyone with a little brain knows that the show has been exhausted, and it is really stupid to continue to spend money on publicity. In the industry, there are many voices of rational discussion about the very different performance of the two TV series. Why did the magic weapon that shonen TV relied on to sweep the market fail? Why did the great change from a sad sadomasochistic drama to a romantic comedy always win the audience's favor? Has the domestic TV series reached the critical moment of seeking novelty and change? Everything is worth thinking about. In such thinking and discussion, as the leading actor of the two phenomenal dramas, Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance, screenwriter, producer, arranger, and other important identities, Lu Chen's status in the industry has quietly risen. He may still lack some foundation from the real big stars, but whether it is popularity or fame, he has become the top. The most important thing is that he is still very young, very young. Youth means unlimited possibilities in the future. Chapter 403. It's not easy to see you now. The soft voice with a hint of hidden bitterness coming from the mouth of a beautiful woman made people unable to bear it. But Lu Chen just smiled faintly and said, "Sorry, I've been too busy recently." Today in his own studio, he had already received 3 visitors, and the 4th visitor was the general manager of Light Rain Media, Miss Su Qingmei. Lu Chen was not perfunctory. Since the ratings of the new drama, Full House of Romance, exceeded 3%, the number of media who came to visit or called for interviews suddenly increased. Various film and television entertainment companies and agencies came one after another, and there were even more institutional investors. Lu Shi, who was the general manager of the studio and Lu Chen's agent, couldn't even use 3 mobile phones. It was too late to deal with all kinds of people who came to the door, so she grabbed him from home to share the pressure. Su Qingmei had contacted Lu Chen several times, and today she finally caught him. The general manager of Light Rain Media had a very complicated heart. Just over a year ago, she looked at Lu Chen with a completely condescending attitude. At that time, Lu Chen was just a small singer in Forget Grass Bar, no different from thousands of newcomers in the capital. However, a year later, now Lu Chen had reached the point where she needed to look up to him. She had to make an appointment several times to see him, as if the identity of the two sides had been reversed. Of course, Su Qingmei's identity was not so low, but she came to find Lu Chen because she had something to ask. "I know you are a busy person." Su Qingmei quickly adjusted her mentality and said straightforwardly, "Our company recently signed a newcomer, who is very talented. I want to ask you to write a single for her." Lu Chen readily agreed, "Okay, I'll arrange a time for her to come over and meet me." In the film and television industry, Lu Chen, who only had 2 works, was not a real big star, but in the pop music industry, he was worthy of being the best singer, and his works were enough to overshadow any of his peers. For example, in the currently popular Full House of Romance, Lu Chen wrote a theme song and 2 interludes, which quickly made it to the original music chart. No one could doubt his talent in pop music. And Lu Chen was also the highest-priced songwriter in the circle. The sky-high price of $500,000 for a work set a record, which also greatly increased the treatment of his peers. Although the price tag was jaw-dropping, there was still an endless stream of entertainment agencies and singers who came to invite Lu Chen for songs, because his works were equivalent to bestsellers and were completely worth the money. It's just that it's not easy to ask Lu Chen to write a song now. He basically writes a song in 10 days on average. The invitations are almost at the end of the year. If you want to jump the queue, you have to rely on your relationship. Su Qingmei was here to cut the queue. Fortunately, Lu Chen gave him a lot of face and happily agreed. His studio had a good working relationship with Light Rain Media. Light Rain Media had several newcomers that appeared in Full of Romance. Although they were not important characters, they were still considered partners. As for the Bionics, there was no need to mention it. Su Qingmei's mood immediately improved. She smiled and said, "Thank you so much. I'll treat you to dinner tonight." After a brief hesitation, Lu Chen tactfully refused. "Unfortunately, I have an appointment tonight." Su Qingmei asked sourly, "With your family's one?" The one in Lu Chen's house was naturally the beloved Miss Chen Fei. Ever since the relationship between Lu Chen and Chen Fei was made public, the heavenly queen of the music industry entered the rhythm of daily public displays of affection. From time to time, she would post photos on her blog to bully the single people. However, she did not delay her career because of this. Instead, she moved from the pop music industry to the film and television industry. Both of her TV series became the ratings champion and her popularity continued to rise. Who knew how many people in the industry were envious and jealous? In the beginning, some people said that Lu Chen was lucky to have a relationship with the heavenly queen and that he could live off a woman. But now, who could say that? Su Qingmei sometimes thought that if she had taken down Lu Chen at all costs when Lu Chen had just emerged, what would Light Rain Media be like now? In fact, Light Rain Media was a small temple that could not accommodate such a great god. Lu Chen did not expect Su Qingmei to think so much. He nodded and replied, "Yes, let's go together next time." During this period of time, Chen Fei was busier than him. She first went to Korea and then there was a domestic endorsement event. She signed a contract and had to attend all of them. Today, she had just returned to Beijing. Therefore, Lu Chen did not want anyone to disturb their date tonight. Okay then, Su Qingmei was not a clingy person. She put away her bag and with that strange thought in her heart, she slowly stood up and said, "Next time, I'll treat you to a drink at Forget Worries Bar. I haven't been there for a long time." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Okay." He personally sent Su Qingmei out. After sending Su Qingmei off, Lu Chen returned to his office and saw Lu Shi sitting in his seat. His sister held a piece of paper in her hand and warned Lu Chen, "This Chief Su is a little bit interested in you. You have to know your limits and don't cause any scandals." Lu Shi and Su Qingmei had met a few times and knew each other, but her sister was not very interested in this charming woman. Lu Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry. "Sister, what are you talking about?" He remembered that Lu Shi had warned him once before. He did not expect her to mention it again. Was Su Qingmei interested in him? Lu Chen didn't see it, and he wouldn't think too much about it. Moreover, he already had Chen Fei and his career. Lu Shi curled her lips. "It's fine as long as you know what you're doing." She waved the paper in her hand and said, "These are the media that have made appointments to interview you. There are also the program invitations from various TV stations. Whether you want to go or not, it's up to you." Lu Chen took it and looked at it. He felt that his head was getting bigger. There were dozens of densely listed on it. Beijing Television, Zhejiang Satellite TV, Shanghai Satellite TV, Haijin Satellite TV, QQ, Chaolu, EasyNet, Entertainment Weekly, New Youth Daily. Lu Shi had obviously filtered out the small media, otherwise the number would have been at least several times higher. These big media were not easy to offend, but if he agreed to all of them, he would probably have to split himself into several pieces. Otherwise, he would not be able to do anything else. Looking at Lu Chen's frowning face, his sister was in a good mood. "Oh, you can study it slowly. Say hello to Faye, or for me tonight." Lu Chen nodded weakly. Chapter 404. The road that the wind blows is still far away. Where is your story? In the recording studio, Lu Chen, who was wearing a huge monitoring headset, finished singing the last sentence of The Ordinary Road. He opened his eyes again and saw Wang Hui giving him a thumbs up through the thick glass. Lu Chen smiled, gave Wang Hui a thumbs up, and then took off the headset. He was recording his second album. After careful consideration, The Ordinary Road would be the title song of the new album. So far, more than half of it had been completed, and it was expected to be on the market at the end of August. For Lu Chen, it felt really good to be back in the recording studio again. Nowadays, Lu Chen did not lack fame or fortune. His work life was busy and fulfilling, shooting TV shows, endorsing advertisements, and participating in various activities. But only here could he find his original love for music. The closed recording studio was isolated from all noise. Standing inside, he could hear his heartbeat and the sound of blood flowing. When the familiar accompaniment music sounded in the headset, he just wanted to sing. Most importantly, this was Lu Chen's own recording studio. There were no restrictions, and he could pursue perfection unscrupulously. In just a day or two, Lu Chen found the right feeling. The recording of one song after another was very smooth, and he could not stop. But that was enough for today. "Thank you for your hard work." Lu Chen walked out of the recording studio and said to Wang Hui, who was sitting in front of the tuning console, "Go to Meijing World tonight and spend as much as you want with my card." Meijing World was a food city in the business district near the New Era Art Park. It gathered delicious food and snacks from all over the world. The food was cheap and the business was excellent. After Lu Chen's studio moved here, Lucy applied for 2 prepaid membership cards in Meijing World. From time to time, she would take everyone to have a sumptuous meal, which could be regarded as a small benefit of the studio. In the past few days, Wang Hui has also worked hard. He is often busy until late at night. Although Lu Chen is not in a hurry to release his second album, for this technical otaku, being idle seems to be like a sin. Taking the membership card from Lu Chen, Wang Hui said shyly, "Thank you, boss." He added, "Next week, I'll definitely finish it." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Actually, you don't have to rush. It's okay to take it slow. Just do your best." Wang Hui said without hesitation, "That's a must. This album will definitely surpass You Who Sat Next to Me." Lu Chen's debut solo album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was also recorded by Wang Hui, but at that time, Wang Hui was still using his own recording studio and equipment, which was completely incomparable to what he has now. The renovation and equipment of Lu Chen's studio's recording studio cost nearly 10 million yuan. Although it couldn't be compared with the top sheds, it was definitely at the first-class level in China. For Wang Hui, who is obsessed with professionalism, letting him independently take charge of such a recording studio built completely according to his own ideals is like a mouse being transferred to a rice jar, which is extremely satisfying. Under such circumstances, Wang Hui can't tolerate any slack or relaxation in his work. He can only use his hardest work to repay Lu Chen's trust and support. Lu Chen smiled and patted Wang Hui on the shoulder. "Drink some water." At this time, a bottle of mineral water was handed to Lu Chen. "Thank you." Lu Chen took it, unscrewed the cap, took 2 sips and asked, "When did you come?" It was Wang Jing who handed him the water. Wang Jing blinked and replied, "I just came, Yang and the others are outside." At the beginning of the year, Lu Chen took over the original Nirvana studios and reformed the Nirvana band. After the Nirvana band settled in their new home in Lu Chen's studio, under the arrangement of Lu Chen, in addition to the usual tasks of accompaniment and following the performance, they also went to other places, such as Forget Grass Bar. Especially during the period when Lu Chen was busy shooting TV series, the Nirvana band spent most of their time running in addition to practicing, using this to constantly improve their ability level, maintain and temper their own skill level. As for the remuneration of the Nirvana band for running the venue, Lu Chen's studio did not take a penny. In this way, the Nirvana band is not only loyal to Lu Chen, but also their progress is very obvious. The quality of the accompaniment of Lu Chen's new album is much better than that of You Who Sat Next to Me. In the Nirvana band, Wang Jing is the well-deserved soul. She is the arranger, lead singer and guitarist. The harmony of several songs in Lu Chen's new album was also completed by Wang Jing. Lu Chen said with a smile, "That's just right. You can go to Beautiful World together and let everyone have a good meal." Wang Jing asked, "Aren't you going?" Lu Chen shook his head, "I have an appointment with Fei, tonight. She just came back." Wang Jing nodded silently and suddenly said, "We are not going to go out for a while and concentrate on practicing your works. I want to rearrange several songs and make a live version." Lu Chen has plans to hold his own solo concert at the end of the year, and the Nirvana band will definitely participate in the whole process. It is rare for a singer's concert to be accompanied by a live band, and it is very low. Lu Chen said with a smile, "That's fine. It's estimated that it will be at least November." By the way, he asked Wang Jing, "Have you ever thought about releasing your own band's single or album?" Wang Jing was obviously not prepared for Lu Chen's question and was stunned. Nirvana band's own album? For a long time, whether it is Wang Jing or the others in the Nirvana band, they have positioned themselves as Lu Chen's exclusive band and the studio's professional band. They have never thought of releasing a band album, because they are working for Lu Chen. On the contrary, Wang Hui reacted faster and asked hesitantly, "Boss, can we do it?" Wang Hui is also a member of the Nirvana band, but he belongs to the non-staff and can only play when needed. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Why not? The studio has all the conditions. Think about it yourself." He looked at the time and said, "I'll go first. You all go to dinner." Wang Jing looked at the background of Lu Chen's departure. She bit her lip and her eyes flashed with a complicated light. Wang Hui said cautiously, "Sister, actually," before he finished speaking, he was knocked on the head by Wang Jing. "Actually what?" "Let's go." Wang Hui could only hold back the words he wanted to say with tears in his eyes. He had to be glad that he didn't say it, otherwise he would probably be unable to take care of himself. Although Wang Hui is a homebody, he is not stupid. Chapter 405. There were 5 to 6 wooden tables and dozens of dining chairs in the courtyard of a shabby house in the depths of an old alley. This was Master Chen's private kitchen. The tables were a little old. The paint was dark, but it was wiped clean. The dining chairs were almost the same. However, they were a little shaky when sitting on them. People were worried that they would directly collapse. Of course, it was impossible to turn on the air conditioner in the open-air courtyard. There was an electric fan in the corner. It blew and swayed from side to side, sending cool air to drive away the heat of summer. Compared with those formal restaurants, the environment here was definitely terrible. However, the customers who came one after another didn't eat the environment, but the taste. Lu Chen hadn't been here for a long time, but nothing had changed here. He came with Chen Fei. Master Chen's private kitchen had always had a good business. It didn't accept reservations. If you wanted a table in the small courtyard, you had to come early or late. Lu Chen and Chen Fei came at 7 o'clock in the evening. It was just past the peak time for dinner, so they didn't need to wait for a table. They ordered braised lion's head, 3 sets of duck, squirrel mandarin fish, boiled shredded dried meat, and 2 baskets of crab meat buns. These were authentic Huaiyang dishes, which were Lu Chen's favorite dishes and Master Chen's signature dishes. The braised lion's head, which had been simmering in the clay pot for a long time, was served first. Big lion's head was in the pot. The thick red sauce was steaming hot, and the fragrance was very tempting. Lu Chen used chopsticks and a spoon to pick up a small piece for Chen Fei. The latter carefully ate a few mouthfuls and couldn't help but show a surprised expression. "It's delicious." Lu Chen smiled and said, "That's good. I was afraid that you wouldn't like it. Today, Chen Fei had just returned to the capital. The two hadn't seen each other for a while, so they made an appointment to have dinner together in the evening. For some reason, Lu Chen suddenly thought of Master Chen's private chef, so he brought Chen Fei to this old place on the Third Ring Road to have a sumptuous meal. A bottle of red wine that cost tens of thousands of yuan and a steak that cost thousands of yuan could certainly bring enjoyment to the taste buds, but beer that cost a few yuan and braised meatballs that cost tens of yuan were not inferior at all. How could that be? Chen Fei shook his head and said, "Of course I would like such delicious food. Besides, the most important thing about eating is not what you eat, but who you eat with." There was a smile on her face, and her eyes were as gentle as water, intoxicating. Lu Chen hadn't drunk yet, so he was a little tipsy. Although it was the same dish, the taste was really different, more delicious. "I used to live in a basement near here, and Li Feiyu was my neighbor," Lu Chen told Chen Fei about the past. "When it's time to get paid, we come here to have a meal to satisfy our cravings. I like the braised meatballs made by Master Chen the most. I really want to eat it today." Chen Fei listened quietly, then ate a few mouthfuls of food, and put more food in Lu Chen's bowl. The dinner was very heartwarming. When Lu Chen was about to pay the bill and leave, several girls walked over hesitantly. One of them asked, Excuse me, you are Lu Chen, Chen Fei, right?" Not knowing whether it was because of excitement or nervousness, her face was flushed. Several girls were also eating here, and then they noticed Lu Chen and Chen Fei sitting not far away. At first, they didn't dare to rashly disturb them, but now they finally mustered up the courage to do so. Lu Chen and Chen Fei looked at each other and smiled. Both of them wore sunglasses when they came, and of course they took them off when eating, so it was normal for them to be recognized. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Yes, hello. Hello, hello." The girl who got a friendly response was even more excited. Can we take a photo together? I'm your fan." Lu Chen nodded, of course. He had met many fans now, and as long as the time was right, he would satisfy all requests for photos and autographs. Yay! The little girl was so happy that she immediately jumped to Lu Chen's side, hugged his arm, and then made a victory sign to her companions, and smiled like a blooming spring flower. Her companions had already taken out their mobile phones and were snapping a few photos in a row. Then they took one after another, and of course, they also took a few photos with Chen Fei, and quickly posted them on their WeChat moments. Lu Chen and Chen Fei patiently accompanied them to finish the selfie. The two of them were very consistent when it came to treating their fans, unlike some celebrities who took the cold route and always ignored their fans. So the fans of both of them were very united. After taking the photos, Lu Chen quickly pulled Chen Fei away, because there were other guests in the small courtyard watching. If other people were to come over to watch, it would be a little difficult to escape. Xian's car was waiting at the entrance of the alley outside, and Lu Chen asked her to send him and Chen Fei to Ho-Hai. "I'm so full tonight." Hand in hand as they strolled along the lake, Chen Fei happily complained, "At least I've gained more than half a kilo." Lu Chen laughed, "How much do you weigh? It doesn't matter if you gain a kilo." Chen Fei paid a lot of attention to maintaining her figure, and insisted on doing yoga every day, so her weight was the perfect standard. Chen Fei asked, "Then do you like the fat me or the thin me?" Lu Chen said, "I like you, I don't care if you're fat or thin." Chen Fei laughed, "Sweet words and honeyed words, you only know how to coax me." Although she said that, she still smiled sweetly. After walking for a while, the two of them sat down on a bench by the side of the road, staring at the distant lights and sparkling waves. Chen Fei hugged Lu Chen's waist, leaning half of her body in his arms. She softly hummed. "The most romantic thing I can think of is to slowly grow old with you." Collecting bits and pieces of laughter along the way, leaving it for later, sitting on a rocking chair and slowly chatting. "The most romantic thing I can think of is to slowly grow old with you. Until we're too old to go anywhere, you still think of me as a treasure in your hands. The song, The Most Romantic Thing She Sang, was the second interlude written by Lu Chen for Full House of Romance. Together with another interlude song, Only for You, sung by Lu Chen, they were currently ranked 3rd and 7th on the original music chart. This was a delicate and gentle love song. It was warm and romantic, expressing a little woman's view of happiness through melody and lyrics. Therefore, it quickly became popular after it was broadcast on the TV series. The official version of the song, Full of Romance, released by the official V account, had already broken the 10 million download mark. But for Lu Chen, whether it was the interlude on TV or the official version, it was far less touching than Chen Feier's soft humming at this moment. He held his lover in his arms, as if he had the whole world. Note, The Most Romantic Thing, lyrics, Yao Ruolong / composer, Li Jingfan. Chapter 406. Following the ratings of the 11th and 12th episodes of Full House of Romance, on July 31st, the ratings of the 13th and 14th episodes, which were broadcast on August 5th, reached 3.45% and 3.56% respectively, getting closer and closer to Lu Chen's stated goal. At this time, even people with stubborn prejudices have to admit that Lu Chen's second TV series has achieved more success than Autumn in My Heart, and is bound to lead the domestic TV market again. A tragedy of sadomasochism, a romantic comedy, Lu Chen seems to have a pair of eyes that can see through people's hearts. He is always able to grasp the audience's preferences and create one miracle after another. However, the success of Full House of Romance has also made Shonan TV's Sea of Love fall into an extremely embarrassing situation. Its 15th and 16th episodes, which were broadcast on August 5th, finally fell below 1%. Why did they use the word finally? That was because on Waves's blog, Lu Chen's fans were eagerly looking forward to Sea of Love falling through the bottom line. The comments section of Hu Yang's blog was flooded with 1% messages. It was simply what everyone expected. This made Shonan TV, which had made a vigorous publicity campaign before the broadcast of Sea of Love, very embarrassed. The marketing methods that were originally aimed at Full House of Romance were now all turned around and slapped in the face. It didn't matter if they were slapped in the face. Anyway, Shonan TV has always been very thick-skinned. However, Sea of Love, which had a huge investment, had a rating of 1%, which was very terrible. Someone had to be responsible for such a bad situation, right? So the industry soon had news that the crew member who advocated head-on with Full House of Romance had been transferred, and Sea of Love was likely to change its broadcast time. Now it seemed that if Sea of Love had not fought head-on with Full House of Romance, the ratings would not have fallen to such a point. Since there was no place to buy medicine for regret, they could only make up for it. Sea of Love, which had been hyped up in full swing, failed to step on Full House of Romance. Instead, it was trampled by Full House of Romance. Naturally, the evaluation of Lu Chen in the industry reached a new height. If the success of his first drama, Autumn in My Heart, was due to luck, then the popularity of Full House of Romance could only mean that he was so strong. Because no one could rely on luck to continuously create miracles. On the evening of August 8th, Lu Chen participated in the talk show, National Star, on the popular radio station FM 103.6. Pop Radio is a first-class commercial radio station and online radio station in China. It takes into account both traditional and new media. The programs cover film and television, music, digital, fashion, travel, food, and other content that young people like. Whether it is radio or online, there are many listeners. On the other hand, Star of the Whole People was a celebrity talk show launched by the popular radio station a few years ago. Its listenership was quite high and it had a certain influence in the industry. Therefore, after receiving an invitation from a pop radio station, Lu Chen did not refuse to appear on this program. The live broadcast began at 7:30 p.m. at the pop radio station's headquarters in Beijing. Good evening to the listeners in front of the radio, and good evening to the netizens. This is the popular radio station, FM 103.6. Welcome, everyone, to Star of the Whole People program. I am Min. I am Xiao Xing. The two hosts of Star of the Whole People were a man and a woman. Their stage names, Min and Xiao Xing, were quite famous. They had millions of fans on Waves. Min was about 30 years old. He wore glasses and looked gentle. His voice was clear and clean, and he spoke humorously. His partner, Xiao Xing, was much younger. She had fair and beautiful long hair, and she had a pleasant and moving voice. Min was the first to introduce, tonight's Star of the Whole People, we have invited a famous singer-songwriter, a famous screenwriter, and a famous actor. And they are actually the same person. Xiao Xing smiled and continued, he is teacher Lu Chen. Everyone, please welcome him. The sound effects of the applause sounded, and Lu Chen said into the microphone, good evening, everyone. I am Lu Chen. It's a pleasure to chat with the two hosts on the pop radio station. Xiao Xing said, first of all, I would like to congratulate Lu Chen. Full House of Romance, which was written, created, and starred in by Lu Chen, broke through 4% in the ratings last night, setting a record for the same type of TV series in the past decade. Min said, congratulations, Lu Chen. Lu Chen said with a smile, thank you. The 18th episode of Full House of Romance, which was broadcast on the evening of August 7th, broke through 4% in the ratings, reaching 4.6%. Although the industry had long expected this result, when it really happened, it still caused a heated discussion. It became the headline of many entertainment media, and it once again attracted a wave of attention. For more than a decade, the domestic TV series market had developed rapidly. The number of TV series shot every year continued to increase, showing a thriving trend. However, it was also accompanied by fierce competition and the phenomenon of blindly following the trend. This was especially true for TV series with urban themes. Idol dramas and youth dramas were popular. In terms of theme and style, they mainly imitated Japanese and Korean dramas. Although there were more TV series, the average ratings were constantly declining. Many people attributed this to the impact of the internet on TV. As the main audience of idol dramas and youth dramas, young people had many choices for entertainment, and they preferred Japanese, Korean, and American dramas. This view had always existed. However, the success of Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance suddenly made everyone realize that in fact, domestic TV series also had great potential. Success did not depend on hype, scandals, or arguments, but creativity and sincerity. As a domestic TV series, the ratings of Full House of Romance in South Korea had exceeded 40%, far ahead of other local Korean TV series in the same period, causing the Korean media to cry wolf. Full House of Romance, which still had 7 episodes to go, had become a real phenomenon. The two hosts of Stars of the Nation naturally could not avoid this topic, so they first flattered it. Then, they changed the topic to the male and female leads. Little Star said, I have a listener here called Tainik Attic. He said he would like to know, teacher Lu Chen, who was the first to pursue Chen Fei, when you were in love? When she asked Lu Chen, the host had a smile on her face. Obviously, she also wanted to know the answer. Stars of the Nation was a real live program. Radio listeners could interact with the host or the celebrities being interviewed through the hotline, while netizens could leave messages on the live website, and then the host would filter out the questions. This question was a little interesting. Chapter 407. Who chased who first? This question made Lu Chen recall how he and Chen Fei first met, became familiar with each other, and fell in love. A faint smile appeared on his face. Xiao Xing suddenly felt jealous. Lu Chen was very young, tall, handsome, and had a perfect image. He also had outstanding talent and a bright future. A person like him was undoubtedly the dream lover of many girls, but he was already taken. How lucky was it to be able to win Lu Chen's love? However, the person he loved was an existence that not many women could compete with. It really made people feel powerless to be jealous, and they did not even have the slightest confidence to compete. Lu Chen thought for a moment and replied, "Actually, no one took the initiative to chase who first. How should I put it? You met someone at a certain time and place, fell in love, and then the other person also fell in love with you, and the two of them naturally got together. This is basically my love story." Lu Chen's answer cleverly avoided the question of who was chasing who, and it was impeccable, making it impossible for people to solve the problem. Otherwise, whether he said that he or Chen Fei chased first, it would be a laughing stock. Yes, a very beautiful love. Demin nodded, his eyes landing on the tablet screen. There's another question. A pink peach listener asked, "Lu Chen, is Chen Fei your first girlfriend? If not, what was the reason for the breakup?" The host had a smile on his face, and he looked a little mischievous. This question seems a little sensitive. Of course, you don't have to answer. Although he said he did not have to answer, he actually wanted Lu Chen to answer. Since it was sensitive, why ask? Lu Chen knew that the host had to create a highlight, and the host's limits were not too much. Of course, he did not have to answer, but avoiding the question would inevitably make people think that he had a guilty conscience and had some unbearable past. Therefore, answering such a question was better than not answering, and the key was how to answer it. He smiled and said, "When I was in school, I fell in love like many people, but we broke up in the end. As for the reason, I think, at that time, we were still too young to understand love." Demin and Little Star looked at each other and saw admiration in each other's eyes. Stars of the Nation had been on air for 2 years and had invited many celebrities. In the past, they had also talked about love, but there weren't many who could give such a meaningful answer like Lu Chen. Lu Chen was very young, but he seemed to have a deep understanding of love, as if he had already experienced the vicissitudes of life. What he brought to the two of them was really a wonderful feeling. At this moment, in the live broadcast room of the popular radio station, Citizen Star, the listeners started to flood the screen. Due to the preview of the program and the recent explosion of Lu Chen's popularity, the number of viewers listening to the popular radio station's live webcast was very high. As of now, it had exceeded 1.2 million and was still increasing. Such a popularity index was really rare in the past radio broadcasts of Stars of the Nation. I want to say that I'm not one of the many people who have never been in a relationship after graduating from university. Never talked about it +1. We broke up when we graduated from university. Now that I think about it, I really want to cry. Yes, we didn't understand love when we were young. I'm very curious who Lu Chen's first girlfriend is. Do you think she is also listening to this program? Lu Chen, I want to hear you sing a song about love. I want to hear a song plus 10,000. The comments of these online listeners would be reflected on the screen in the broadcasting room in real time. The host, Little Star, smiled and said, "So many listeners have said that they want to hear you sing a song about love. What do you think?" Lu Chen did not refuse. Of course. Before going on the program, it was said that there would be a live singing segment, but it was just brought forward. Even the guitar had been prepared. Lu Chen took the guitar from the radio station staff and held it in his arms to test the tone. After building up his mood, he said into the microphone, "This song is for love, it's called, Because of Love." His voice turned into radio waves and signals, instantly transmitted thousands of miles away and into the boundless online world. There was also the sound of the piano and singing. "I'll give you a CD of the past, listen to our love at that time. Sometimes I suddenly forget that I'm still in love with you. I can't sing that kind of song anymore, although I often forget that I'm still in love with you. Because love is not easily sad, therefore, everything seemed to be blissful. Because love grows simply, can still be crazy for you at any time." Gently plucking the strings, Lu Chen sang this song, Because of Love, from shallow to deep, as if he was telling his own love story, telling those sweet, warm, and romantic stories. His simple playing and singing were like the simplest confession. There was a tinge of sadness in it, but it was full of deep nostalgia. It easily aroused people's desire for love from the bottom of their hearts. It was sincere and exquisite. Because how can love have vicissitudes, so we're still young? Because love is in that place, there are still people wandering there, people coming and going. This song was originally a duet between a man and a woman, but Lu Chen slightly changed it to a solo. But what didn't change was the beautiful melody and touching lyrics. He chose this song not to find the feeling of first love again, but to treat his love with a more mature state of mind. Chen Fei should also be listening to this program, and he believed that she could understand his heart. As the audience at the scene, the hosts of National Star, De Min and Little Star, listened very seriously and were very moved. Little Star even listened with red eyes. She was deeply moved by this song, because of love. In the online live broadcast room, the rolling comments never stopped. Because of love, I really, really want to be in love again. Why does it sound so good? 55555, I want to cry listening to it. As a single dog, I feel deeply hurt, and I don't want to listen to it anymore. Lu Chen's songs are really getting better and better. I like this love song. Lu Chen, I love you. At that time, sighing, sad, admiring, expressing love. Thousands of comments became the footnotes of this song. As Lu Chen finished playing and singing. Pa. 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 There was applause in the broadcasting room of the pop radio station, applause from the two hosts. Tonight's program was already a success with this song. Because of love. Note, because of love, lyricist/composer, Little Ku. Chapter 408. Jiangcheng West District, Flying Dragon Internet Cafe. It was already late at night, but the smoky internet cafe was still filled to the brim. There weren't many empty seats. Wang Pu took a deep breath of the Red 5 cigarette in his mouth and smoked the last bit of tobacco. Then, he reluctantly pressed the cigarette butt into the ashtray. The next moment, he puffed out the smoke, straightened his back and opened his arms, looking energetic. Wang Pu opened the QQ group skillfully, his fingers flying on the keyboard. Brothers, get ready to vote. The same content was quickly copied to the other two groups. The group members responded immediately. Don't worry, group owner. My 15 recommendation votes are dying. Just waiting for 12 o'clock. 2 Vs, 9 tickets. I will buy them all this week. You guys get ready, I will send some tips first. Damn, Taheo, you are here too. Please hug my leg, please whip me. You must get on the recommendation list on the homepage. Looking at the comments that flashed across the screen, Wang Pu felt his blood boiling. He felt like he was commanding an army of thousands of men and horses to charge and break through enemy lines. Just after 12 o'clock, he pressed the confirm button in the voting column and gave all the 7 recommendation votes to the smiling, the proud wanderer. After 12 o'clock, it will be Monday, and according to the rules of Inspire Books, the hit list, recommendation list, and gift list on the home page will be reset and refreshed, so this is the best time to grab a prominent position on the list. As a loyal fan of the smiling, proud wanderer and the owner of the group of 3,000 readers of the smiling, proud wanderer, Wang Pu had been planning this action for several days. He had mobilized a large number of members in the group, as well as the book bar and the forum. Wang Pu had been suppressing his anger. The smiling, the proud wanderer was first released on Waves on May 27th, and it had been updated for more than 2.5 months until August 14th. The number of updated words had reached more than 400,000. Clicks, 235600, recommendations, 225647, favorites, 6690, comments, 23,690. Without any recommendation, it was a small miracle that the smiling, the proud wanderer could get such a result. The click-through ratio was close to 1:1, which beat many books on the list. However, with such a good result, the smiling, the proud wanderer was still unsigned. It seemed that Waves didn't even care about the existence of the smiling, the proud wanderer. Wang Pu felt deeply insulted that he couldn't even sign a contract with such a good book. Since he discovered this martial arts novel on Inspire Books, he quickly became a loyal fan, and reading it twice a day has become a habit of his life. As the number of words increased, the story of the smiling, the proud wanderer was getting better and better. The exciting plots made him unable to stop. There were several times when he wanted to save a few chapters to read, but when it came to the end, he clicked on the web page as if he was possessed. This made Wang Pu curious about the author of The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. He tried to contact him many times through text messages, but there was no response. In Wang Pu's opinion, Memories of Present and Ancient should be a talented and capable writer who did not understand the rules of online literature. Other than diligently updating daily, he did not know how to interact with readers and did not advertise himself. He was like an old ox that silently plowed the land. But it didn't matter. Wang Pu created several reader groups and advertised in the book review section and Tieba forum to attract people. He managed to unite a large number of old-buy readers who also liked the book. Wang Pu definitely contributed to The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer's current success. He didn't ask for the gratitude of The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer or anything else. He just didn't want this good book to be buried. It couldn't be buried either. Many readers felt the same as Wang Pu. They were angry about The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. That was why this ranking competition was born. Once The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was on the list, waves couldn't continue to ignore it. Unless they were all blind. The group logo at the bottom right corner of the screen was flashing crazily. In the 3,000 reader groups of The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer, many people were posting pictures of their achievements. The so-called pictures of achievements were screenshots of votes, including gifts. The more votes and gifts, the better it was. Because of their collective action, The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer's weekly recommendation votes were increasing rapidly. After 10 minutes, it was at the top of the list with 3,780 votes. The three groups were instantly filled with cheers. Ha ha ha, it is at the top of the list. That's it. Yes, there is strength in numbers. Good job, everyone. It's not challenging at all. I have prepared 3 V accounts and 25 recommendation votes. It would be great if we could stand for a week. Wang Pu said hurriedly, don't be too happy. Our opponents are very strong. Those who have votes, please continue to vote. Even if we could stand for a day, it would be great. Although The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was at the top of the list with their efforts, it was only temporary. Those popular books on the website had far more readers. Once they started, they could easily destroy their efforts. Wang Pu chose to make use of the time difference so that The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer could stand on the list as long as possible. His ultimate goal was to get this book signed and get a chance to recommend it. Wang Pu also believed that as long as The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was recommended by the website, its results would definitely soar. The group members all agreed with him. Don't worry, group leader. We won't waste our votes. I will go to other groups and ask for as many as I can. At least one day on the front page. In fact, there are not many people in the group. There will be more today. Anyway, I will give all my votes to The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer this week. Support a good book. Support group leader. Wang Pu felt warm in his heart. He did these things not for fame or profit, but purely out of his love for The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. He was really satisfied to have so many readers supporting him. After thinking for a while, Wang Pu said, "Thank you, everyone. It's late. Go to bed early. We will see the results tomorrow. Good night." Wang Pu closed the QQ group and went to the bar to pay the bill. He left the Flying Dragon Internet Cafe and ate a bowl of noodles at a nearby restaurant. Then he went back to his rented apartment and slept. Wang Pu had a dream. He dreamed that he was in the Jianghu full of swords and swords in the book. And he himself was the protagonist of the chivalrous act. Chapter 409. At 7 in the morning, Wang Pu woke up on time. He washed up in a hurry and ran to work in the morning light. This was the most important way for Wang Pu to exercise his body. Unless it was raining or snowing, he would never stop. He had breakfast in a breakfast shop not far from his office. It was still early. Wang Pu walked as usual and took out his phone from his pocket. He opened the app of Waves Books. He couldn't wait to know how the proud wanderer was doing and whether it was pushed down from the top of the weekly recommendation list by other books. Wang Pu scrolled through the rankings. Surprisingly, he didn't see any familiar titles on the weekly recommendation list. Pushed out of the top 10 so quickly? The weekly recommendation list of Waves Books only showed the top 10. Wang Pu couldn't help feeling disappointed. But soon he found something was wrong. Because the data on the phone showed that the recommendation for the 10th place had less than 3,000 votes. How was that possible? Wang Pu remembered very clearly that in the wee hours of the morning, the proud wanderer was at the top of the list with 3,780 votes. How could it not be in the top 10 now? Wang Pu suddenly had a bad feeling. He hurriedly clicked on more data on the weekly recommendation list, but the name of the proud wanderer was nowhere to be found. Wang Pu quickly took out the proud wanderer from his bookshelf and opened it to check the data. Weekly recommendation, 0. 0 votes. Wang Pu felt like there were 10,000 alpacas galloping through his heart. His face turned red and his hair stood up. Damn it. What the f***ck? Although Wang Pu was young, he was definitely an experienced reader of online novels. He knew the rules of the literature website. He knew that it was not the website's data that was wrong, but the votes were blocked because it was considered to have been manipulated. The votes were reset to 0, and all votes were invalid within the time limit. If the proud wanderer was really manipulated, Wang Pu would accept it. Nowadays, the website was quite strict with this kind of cheating, and the punishment was not low. As a reader, he would support it. However, these recommendation votes were cast by hundreds and thousands of readers. They were definitely not cheated. Last night, everyone had worked hard in front of the computer until 12 o'clock to vote. Now, all their hard work had gone up in smoke. How could Wang Pu be willing? The group was probably in an uproar right now. He couldn't help but speed up his pace and hurriedly came to his workplace. Before his boss came, he turned on the computer and logged into his QQ. As Wang Pu expected, several QQ groups were already full of complaints. Does anyone know why our recommendation votes have been cleared? Holy sh**t, are you kidding me? Hehe, books that haven't signed a contract won't be on the list. What else is there to say? This is too unfair. I want to complain. Forget it. The arm can't twist the thigh. What's the use of complaining? She doesn't even care about you. I'm so angry. Some people were confused, some were agitated, some were angry, and some were clamoring for justice. Even though the number of members online at this time was not bad, everyone was talking at once. Wang Pu clenched his teeth, his fingers tapping on the keyboard with extra force. For this matter, we have to seek an explanation from Waves Reading. Why did they remove our recommendation votes? We didn't fake our votes. It's normal for readers to vote to support their favorite books or authors. If this counts as fake votes, then there's no need for the list to exist at all. On this matter, Wang Pu was confident. How could he swallow his anger? His opinion was immediately supported by everyone. The way to seek an explanation was very simple, that is, to complain and protest through the customer service of Waves Reading. 1 or 2 complaints may not have any effect, but what if there are hundreds or thousands of people? The effect will definitely be different. The group members of the Smiling, Proud, and Smiling Wanderer readers group are still very united. Their large number of complaints and protests have also attracted the attention of Inspire Books official, because many of these readers are VIP users, and their levels are very high. In other words, they were regular subscribers. Near noon, the department head of Waves Reading, together with the channel's editor-in-chief, and technical customer service staff, held a small meeting to discuss this matter. The head asked, "What's going on with the book, The Smiling, Proud Wanderer? So many people complained." The technician explained, "This book suddenly appeared on the top of the weekly list at 0:10 this morning. There's a serious suspicion of fake votes, so I blocked the votes this morning." The head frowned and asked, "Have you checked if it's really fake votes?" The technician shook his head, "Not yet. The votes are all normal, but, at this time," the channel's editor-in-chief coughed and said, "I've paid attention to this book before. It's quite good, and the theme is quite special, but the author refused to sign the contract." The supervisor furrowed his brows. "What's the reason for your refusal?" The editor-in-chief said, "He has a problem with the copyright contract, so he didn't want to sign it." "So that's why," the head suddenly understood. Sometimes, the author refused to sign the contract, and it was mostly because of the contract. But it was really rare for a book like The Smiling, Proud Wanderer to appear on the homepage list without a contract. It should be known that unsigned works did not have any recommendations, so the exposure was too low. How could it compare with popular books? But understanding was one thing, but how to deal with it? The head was also a bit puzzled. It was obviously unjust to block the list, but since the author refused to sign the contract, it would not bring benefits to the website. Why would the website give the valuable homepage resources to him? After thinking about it, the head said resolutely, "Since it's blocked, let's block it to the end. Contact the author again and ask him if he is willing to sign the contract. If he is willing, then we will unblock it. What if he is still not willing?" No one asked this question, because it was not necessary. The customer service staff asked, "What about those complaints?" The head smiled and said, "Just tell them that the data of this book is abnormal, and the technology is dealing with it." In any case, he would not let The Smiling, Proud Wanderer on the homepage, otherwise it would be too embarrassing. After the meeting, the editor-in-chief contacted Remember Now and Ancient again through QQ. However, she didn't get any reply. Because at this time, Lu Chen didn't know the storm caused by The Smiling, Proud Wanderer at all. He was currently in Hangzhou. Chapter 410. On August 14th, Full House of Romance ended perfectly on Beijing Television and Zhejiang Satellite TV. The 4 episodes broadcasted 2 days ago all had a viewership rating of more than 4%. By the 25th episode finale on the night of the 14th, the combined viewership rating of the 2 satellite TV stations reached 5.17%. Finally, the national average viewership rating of the popular drama steadily pulled over 3%, fully realizing and even exceeding the bold words released by Lu Chen before the broadcast. At the same time, the highest ratings of Full House of Romance in South Korea reached 42.72%, and the average ratings of the whole drama was 32.56%. It not only created a ratings miracle for domestic programs in South Korea, but also swept the Korean dramas of the same period, so much so that it triggered a wave of enthusiasm in South Korea's online community. At the same time, Lu Chen and Chen Fei's popularity in South Korea rose, becoming the most famous Chinese stars in South Korea. As for Shonan TV's Sea of Love, which originally competed with Full House of Romance in the ratings, it was ruthlessly crushed into slag in front of the ratings myth created by Full House of Romance. Although it did not change the broadcast time for the sake of face, it also became a joke in the industry. The winner takes all the honors. Although Full House of Romance was completely broadcast, the hot discussion about the show on the internet has not stopped. The number of fans of the official vlog of the crew even reached more than 5 million, and the popularity index was big, surpassing that of Autumn in My Heart. The fans of Full House of Romance were still not satisfied. The short 25 episodes obviously could not fully meet their needs, and the call for a replay or a sequel was very loud. Under such circumstances, Beijing Television and Zhejiang Satellite TV announced at the same time that they would replay Full House of Romance at the end of August. At the same time, QQ Video also announced that it had won the right to broadcast Full House of Romance online. Full House of Romance was too popular, and its ratings were so high that it was dazzling. There were as many as a dozen TV stations seeking the right to replay, and the price offered was quite attractive. However, Beijing Television and Zhejiang Satellite TV were reluctant to give up this super big fat meat. They would rather pay a large sum of money to keep the replay rights with the priority in the contract and not let the fat water fall into the hands of outsiders. In addition, as one of the partners, Crown Pictures sought to purchase the movie rights of Full of Romance from Lu Chen Studio. Since both Lu Chen and Chen Fei had no intention of making a blockbuster movie like Full of Romance, and Crown Pictures was very sincere, the copyright contract was soon completed. The copyright transfer fee was 25 million yuan. The novel of the same name, Full House of Romance, was officially published by Shanghai Publishing House. Its first print run reached 500,000 copies. There was also a manga version, brand authorization, and a soundtrack album. After professional evaluation and the existing income, the final net profit of Full House of Romance for Lu Chen Studio would steadily exceed 100 million, and this was the income after tax deduction. Just by relying on this TV series, Lu Chen Studio was enough to rank among the first-class star studios. In addition to profits, he was also famous. Lu Chen's blog followers had also exceeded the 20 million mark. As an idol star who has only debuted for more than a year, Lu Chen is undoubtedly an artist who is good at creating miracles. His strength in music is well known, and he is proficient in both screenwriting and acting. His outstanding talent is simply enviable, as if it was a gift from heaven. A well-known blogger said on his blog, Lu Chen is an idol star because he has all the attributes of an idol: young, tall, handsome, healthy, sunny, but it is obviously very unfair to say that he is an idol star. He already has the potential to become a real superstar. What he lacks is nothing more than a few awards of sufficient weight. It is worth mentioning that the Yulan Awards, one of the two major domestic TV series awards, will announce the winners at the end of this month. As one of the highest-rated TV series last year, Autumn in My Heart, written and starring Lu Chen, has undoubtedly become one of the favorites. This inevitably makes people look forward to Lu Chen's performance at the Yulan Awards. Best TV Series, Best Actor, Best Screenwriting, Best Music, Best Original Theme Song. Amidst the uproar, Lu Chen announced that he would release his second album, The Ordinary Road, at the end of this month, and at the same time launched a crowdfunding campaign on the crowdfunding website, as well as a promotional tour in 7 major cities across the country. Lu Chen's second album can be said to be highly anticipated. The recording of all 10 songs has been completed and is currently in the intense post-production stage. The first stop he chose to promote was Hangzhou. Hangzhou has a special meaning for Lu Chen. He finished 4 years of college here and left countless beautiful or sad memories in his life. On the first day in Hangzhou, Lu Chen first met Gao He and Wang Xiaoling, his old classmates who had just been married. The dinner in the evening was booked by Gao He at the famous Shizi Hotel in Hangzhou, which was regarded as a welcome dinner for Lu Chen. But eating was not the main purpose. The important thing was that Gao He had resigned from his original company. When he married Wang Xiaoling 2 months ago, Lu Chen mentioned to the two that he wanted to invest in a mobile game company. Lu Chen would provide funds and ideas, and he would manage it. After 2 months, Gao He couldn't wait to start his own business. Of course, there is a reason. It's mainly the meaning of Xiaoling's family, Gao He explained to Lu Chen with a wry smile, looking quite helpless. Wang Xiaoling was very embarrassed. It turned out that although the two broke through the resistance of their families and got together, Gao He's father-in-law and mother-in-law were still dissatisfied with the marriage. In fact, it was mainly about buying a house. Both of them work in the company. Even if they earn double salaries, they don't know when they can buy a house in Hangzhou. Considering that they will have children in the future, they can't always rent a house, right? So their opinions are still quite big. The father-in-law and mother-in-law want to save face. They always feel that Wang Xiaoling is married like this. They can't lift their heads in front of their relatives and friends, so they can't help nagging Wang Xiaoling. Wang Xiaoling was complained by her family a lot, so she couldn't help but pull out Lu Chen's promise to prove that she has a future with Gao He. As a result, when Gao He's father-in-law and mother-in-law heard this, they immediately publicized this matter to their relatives and friends, and even Gao He's colleagues knew about it. This was very embarrassing. How could Gao He continue to stay in the original company, so he had to resign. Now that he has been put on the fire, he took advantage of Lu Chen's visit to revisit the old things and talk about starting his own business. After listening to the cause and effect, Lu Chen felt a little funny. Of course, it doesn't matter. At the beginning, he didn't make a promise without thinking. Now that Gao He has resigned, he will simply start the plan ahead of time. What's more, Lu Chen is prepared. Chapter 411. Gao He originally planned to come out after finishing his work in the company this year. Because of this unexpected change, it must have affected his plan, but his resignation was not the result of blindness and impulsiveness. Bad things can actually turn into good things. I have 2 buddies in the company who have a good relationship and are also capable. They want to start a business with me. Gao He said, among the people who just graduated from our school this year, I have contacted several younger brothers. If needed, I can immediately pull up a team of 10 people. The scale of Gao He's previous company is not large. At present, the competition in the mobile game industry is extremely fierce. In the winner-take-all situation, the situation of small enterprises in the weak position is undoubtedly much more difficult. Low wages and benefits, high labor intensity, and uncertain future. Gao He has been in this company for more than a year, and he has long had the idea of leaving, but he stayed out of the need to accumulate work experience. So after talking to Lu Chen last time, he was actively preparing. A team of 10 or so people was definitely far from enough to make a mobile game. However, as long as the flag was raised, it wouldn't be difficult to recruit relevant professionals in Hangzhou, which was a hotspot for advanced technology. It just depended on how big the company needed to be. At the beginning, we don't need a lot of people, Lu Chen smiled and said, I have already thought about the first game project. What do you do? Gao He suddenly became interested. Role-playing? Action? Strategy? Puzzle? He asked about the type of game. For a new company to start a business, the choice of mobile game type is very important, and it is one of the keys to success. Gao He understands technology and can also be a hardworking IT scalper, but game creativity is not his strength. He cares about the creativity proposed by Lu Chen, even more than the funds provided by Lu Chen. In such a mobile game market, creativity is really king. Lu Chen was not in a hurry to answer. He asked the waiter to find him a pen and a few pieces of printing paper. Picking up the pen and writing a line of English letters on the paper, Lu Chen handed it to Gao He. Gao He took it and looked at it, and he looked confused. Wang Xiaoling curiously poked her head and asked cautiously, happy? What was written on the paper was a website. Lu Chen smiled and said, that's right. This will be the new company's website. It will be called HappyNet. This URL had been registered a long time ago. Fortunately, it did not belong to a well-known website. Instead, it was in the hands of a domain name dealer. Lu Chen only spent 100,000 yuan to buy it. The first project of the new company will be a farming social network and mobile game. His brush flew, and he used simple strokes to quickly sketch out a rough image of the game on a new piece of white paper. There were fields, farmhouses, windmills, rivers, and so on. Of course, there were also growing vegetables. Lu Chen had learned sketching and coloring before. Although his drawing ability was far from that of a professional, it was still not a problem for him to draw this kind of childlike sketch. He finished it quickly. He used this picture to explain his ideas to Gao He. The name of this game is Happy Farm. All registered users have the initial resources, 6 squares of fields, farming tools, seeds, etc. They can log on every day to manage their own farms, planting, watering, fertilizing, pest control, picking, that's it? Gao He and Wang Xiaoling looked at each other and didn't know what to say. The two of them work in this industry. Not to mention their ability, they have knowledge and experience. Lu Chen's game creativity is a bit special, but it doesn't sound very attractive. Who would be bored enough to grow vegetables on their mobile phones and computers every day? How can they ensure customer stickiness? It's just that because of their face, the two of them couldn't say it clearly, and their expressions were a bit strange. Lu Chen looked at the expressions of the two of them and continued with a smile. Don't you think it's a little boring? In fact, the key to this game is interactive. Registered users can invite others to become friends, and then help their friends' farms manage and cultivate, or steal their planting results. That's stealing vegetables. In Lu Chen's dream world, Happy Farm once created a miracle in web games. The craze of stealing vegetables lasted for a long time, and it frequently appeared in the media and made a lot of news. Unfortunately, it appeared a little early, in the period when smartphones have just begun to develop. Otherwise, it will inevitably become a popular mobile game. It is simple, interesting, interactive, and aimed at the weaknesses of human nature. Lu Chen took this game as the startup project of his new company. First of all, Happy Farm is very creative, and it is guaranteed to be a hit. Secondly, it is not difficult to produce, and it is most suitable for small teams to start a business. Any mobile game will not have a long life, and Happy Farm is no exception, but when the game declines, the foundation of the company will be very solid. At that time, Lu Chen can come up with a lot of creativity: Fruit Ninja, Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds. After listening to Lu Chen's detailed explanation of Happy Farm, Wang Xiaoling, who is not a professional, reacted first. This is very interesting. We girls definitely like to play. Girls usually don't like fighting and killing games. Leisure games are the most suitable. Happy Farm is not only a casual game, but also has the attributes of upgrading and competition. The key is that it is extremely interactive. Lu Chen continued, users can bind to QQ, so that users can directly use QQ to log into the game, add and invite all their friends to participate together. As the hegemon of online instant communication, QQ has the most extensive users in the world. It is a common practice for many websites and games to use ready-made QQ numbers to register members. Lu Chen Studio has a good cooperative relationship with QQ, so there is no problem in applying for the resources of QQ, and they can even advertise through QQ. Lu Chen has thought of this step. Even Gao He, who is still a little confused, was determined. Old 3, we will do whatever you say. I will listen to you. Wang Xiaoling gritted her teeth and said, Lu Chen, for the investment of the new company, Gao He will contribute 300,000 yuan, and I will contribute 200,000 yuan. The two of us will add up to a total of 500,000 yuan. The proportion of shares will be decided by you. Although it is said to be two people, it is actually all the funds that the two families can come up with. Lu Chen nodded. Then I will contribute 5 million yuan, accounting for 80% of the shares. You will contribute 10%, and the other 10% will be used as equity incentives for those employees who have made contributions in the future. What do you think? To start the Happy Farm project, 5 million yuan is definitely more than enough. Lu Chen's equity distribution plan is very fair and reasonable, and it is also slightly biased towards Gao He and Wang Xiaoling, because 10% of the incentive equity is equivalent to him, and he also provided the most important creativity. Gao He said without thinking, no problem. Lu Chen smiled and held out his hand. Come, I wish us a happy cooperation. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.